Okay, I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heinlein. That's right. Some of you may be asking at the moment, where is your hat? What happened to your hat, Durfee? Why aren't you wearing a hat? Well, some of you have been commenting in the comments of my videos, why do you always wear a hat? And I'm like, well, you know the Peanuts cartoon, Charlie Brown and Linus and Snoopy? Well, the character Linus, he carries a blanket with him everywhere he goes. It's like his security blanket. I guess you could call my hats, my little beanie with the skull on it, or my Raiders cap, kind of like my security blankets. I just feel insecure without them. I just really do. I feel like without my hats, I feel like a stranger in a strange land. I'm trying, folks. I'm trying. You know, this on the cover of this says, the most famous science fiction novel ever written. Let me repeat. The most famous science fiction novel ever written. Oh, do you agree with that? I mean, do you think Dune is more famous? Do you think like The Expanse is more? Do you think that Star Wars was a novel? Do you think that's more famous? I mean, that's a bold claim. The most famous science fiction novel ever written. Well, I guess we have to believe that because Billy Joel wrote a song about it. We didn't start the fire. Stranger in a Strange Land. It's about Stranger in a Strange Land. Here's the lyrics. Hemingway, Eichmann, Stranger in a Strange Land, Dylan, Berlin, Bay of Pigs invasion. Was that it? Yeah. Hemingway, Eichmann, Stranger in a Strange Land, Dylan, Berlin, Bay of Pigs invasion. Hemingway, Eichmann, Bay of Pigs, Stranger in a Strange Land. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. Eichmann, Hemingway, Bay of Pigs, Stranger in a Strange... I don't know the lyrics to that. But it must be the most famous science fiction novel of all time if Billy Joel included it in the lyrics to We Didn't Start the Fire. There ain't no Dune in that music video. There ain't no Dune. There's no Ender's Game. There's no Ender's Game in the Billy Joel lyrics. No. Stranger in a Strange Land. This is the only Robert Heinlein book I've ever read. And I've read it twice. I read it once when I was in high school, and I just reread it, or I listened to it on Audible just recently. And I liked it, and it's inspired me to go ahead and buy a bunch of more Robert Heinlein books. So I think in my next book haul, my March book haul, look for some more Robert Heinlein books to have been purchased in that book haul, if you're so interested. What is this book about? Well, I just re-listened to it on a long road trip on Audible. The Audible narrator was one Christopher Hurt. Did a great job narrating. And you know, the cover, we always talk about the covers too. I love this cover. The illustrator was James Warhola. He's done some nice things. I love this little painting of the water sharing, and you know, we got this, and then we got the signature of Robert Heinlein along the side. That's dynamite. That's a great little packaged book there. We always review the covers as part of this. Michael Valentine Smith. That's what it's about. That's what this book is about. Michael Valentine Smith. Who is he? He's a Martian. Well, how did he get to be a Martian? Well, back, you know, in the not too distant future, we send a ship to Mars. And the powers that be that put the ship together, they're like, well, we need to find people to man the ship. Well, we don't want a mishmash of weirdos. We don't want like 5 guys and 2 girls, because we know that ain't going to go right. And we don't want, 10 girls and 2 guys, because that's going to even be worse. So they wanted, an equal amount of women. They wanted 4 women and 4 men, and they wanted them all to be married to each other. They wanted, couples. They wanted 4 couples, 8 people total. That way there was no funny business on the ship, because it's a long, believe it or not, Mars is a long trip. You're going to be by yourselves. You're going to be with people in a little confined space for a bit of time, and then so they didn't want hormones to go, not to say that married people ain't going to be, not to say that whole spaceship wasn't just a swinging party. I don't know. I wasn't there, and it is not explained in the book. But what did happen is they sent this spaceship with these 4 couples, 8 people total, off to Mars, and then they don't hear from them again. They just disappear in oblivion. So years and years go by, and they decide to send another ship to Mars. I mean, like generations go by, and then they get to the next ship gets to Mars, and they're like, oh, Mars is already populated. Who populated it? Well, the people from the first ship populated it. And one of their descendants was Valentine Michael Smith. And so they bring Valentine Michael Smith back to Earth. And that's where the fun starts, because Valentine Michael Smith never been off of Mars. He's not used to earthly customs or anything. In fact, he's never even seen a female, believe it or not. And so he's just like, and even the sharing of water is like a ritual, to him, because, water ain't the most, it's pretty scarce on Mars. And so just sharing of water is just like something he just can't wrap his head around, And so he's like a real novelty to people on Earth. Like, who is this guy? And then people want to, then all the different governments want to, and, everybody wants to, because this guy is like, people see dollar signs, and things go haywire with Valentine Michael Smith. People hide him. Is this the real Val? And then it's like, then there's imposters. They're like, no. So then they trot out all of these, hey, we want to interview the Martian guy. And then they trot out people that aren't really the Martian guy. And so nobody really knows who the Martian guy is. It's just like a big chess game, right? And like everybody's hiding him, but we the readers always kind of know which one he really is. And he goes through a lot of different adventures, and he's so naive and innocent that he teaches us the world about how to re-examine everything that we've ever done throughout history. And it's a very philosophical, very deep-thinking book. Now, it was written in 1961, and I'm going to tell you right now, folks, there is some unpolitically correct things in this. There's some things where I'm like, okay, Robert Heinlein's projecting this to happen in a way future, and we know how 1961, there's probably a lot of weird patriarchy, a lot of, toxic masculinity, all of that stuff, feminism hadn't really come about, and so it's all in this book. It's like Hemingway, not Hemingway, but Heinlein didn't really foresee the fact that we would have changed our ways, and we wouldn't be so anti-female, we wouldn't be so we wouldn't be so homophobic, we wouldn't be all of these things, that we would have evolved a little bit, because holy cow, there are some doozies in here. Doozies, I'm telling you, you're going to roll your eyes at some of the stuff that some of these characters say to each other. I'm just like, whoa, I'm not easily offended, but I was just like, holy shnikes. I don't think an author should say that. I don't even know if an author should have a character say that. Although I think characters should be able to say whatever vile thing that's on their mind. I don't think that those should be edited out. But I don't know if that's happening here, to be honest with you. But you got to give people the benefit of the doubt, just based off of where they were born and what time they were born. You can't just cancel everybody. And I would certainly not cancel this, because the other messages in it are far outweigh whatever negatives you might find. Whatever unpolitically correct negatives you might find. And there are a lot. That's more than I think I've ever seen in a book, ever. Anyway, it's a good book. It's a good science fiction book beyond that. I liked it. I groped it. I groped most of it. I think I groped a good portion of it. What do I give Stranger in a Strange Land? I think I would give this one. It's just like that first alien contact story. It's like a sweet story in a way. And it teaches us a lot about our own religions and how we've got to just, as unpolitically correct as it does teach us that we got to just relax and change and treat each other better, right? And that's the main thing. I give it I give it about a 7.5 out of 10, maybe an 8 out of 10.